today I am going to be doing my very first book unhaul, which is something I never thought I'd be doing on my channel. But it is that time of year where spring is in the air, even though it's snowing outside. So I thought I would do some spring cleaning, and it's also the Book Happiness Project Happiness in Spring Cleaning Month. So I was planning on reorganizing my bookshelves anyway, but I decided to do an unhaul because my mom calls me a hoarder. I prefer to call myself a collector because personally I don't think you're hoarding unless you're collecting stuff that doesn't make you happy or that you don't like. And I always thought I'm collecting books and all of my books make me happy, so I'm not hoarding. But recently I've realized that there are a lot of books on my shelf that I either just didn't like, that I'm never going to get to, or that just don't interest me at all. And they're just cluttering up my bookshelves, and I've pretty much run out of space on my bookshelves, so now they're kind of losing their prettiness because I just have stacks of books all over the place. So I realized that they are not making me happy anymore, and I am starting to become a hoarder. So I decided to do this book unhaul. I have a lot of books, so let's just get started. Also, if I'm unhauling like your favorite book, I have nothing against you and I have nothing against the book. Most of these books are just things that I'm not interested or that I just know I'll probably never get to, so there's somebody else out there that will probably appreciate these books more than I do, so I'm going to donate all of them. So the first one is The Battle of the Labyrinth by Riordan. This is the 5th book, I believe, or the 4th book in the Percy Jackson series. I had every intention of reading the Percy Jackson series, which is why I bought this book, but I just don't think I'm ever going to get to it, and I've kind of lost interest in the series. And also, if I ever do decide to read the series, I can just get them from the library, and if I really enjoy them, I prefer hardcover anyway, so this is just like a paperback version. So that's why I'm unhauling that one. Then I have The Alchemist, The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel by Michael Scott. I believe this is a middle grade book, and I'm kind of out of the middle grade phase, but again, if I ever have any interest in reading this book, I can just get it from the library, and I prefer my books in hardcover again. So why'd I buy so many paperbacks? I don't know, but I've decided to stop doing that. Then we have Rebel of the Sands by Arwen Hamilton, and the only reason that I'm getting rid of this one is because it's an advanced reader copy, which I didn't get sent to review. I found this at my library book sale, and I didn't realize that it was an ARC copy, and I just prefer to read finished copies unless I have to. If I was sent it, then I would have kept it, but I wasn't, so I'm getting rid of it. Then we have The Scorch Trials by James Dashner. I read the first book in the Maze Runner series. This is the second book. Read the first book, didn't really like it, thought it was okay. Read this, or started reading this one. I think I actually started it twice and DNF'd it twice because I just didn't like it, so getting rid of it. Next book is Sanctuary's Fiend by A. Lynch. This was a book that I was sent to review and I did not like it at all. Then we have The Creeping by Alexandra I don't know how to pronounce her name, I'm sorry. This is a book that I actually bought really recently and I hauled really recently, but again, it's an ARC copy, which I didn't realize at the time, so I'm getting rid of it. But I am really interested in reading that book. Next we have The Diviners by Libba Bray. I also really want to read this book. This was a copy that I picked up at the Dollar Tree for $1, and it's a really tiny copy because the pages are Bible pages. They're super thin. And I'd rather get one of the really big, beautiful copies. Then we have One Realm Beyond, which is a high fantasy, I believe it's a Christian novel. It's the first book in the Realm Walker series. And recently I've realized that I'm not really a big high fantasy person unless it's a retelling of something. But just in general, I don't really like high fantasy, so I decided to unhaul this one. I think I read the first chapter of it a couple years ago, and it didn't really interest me in the first place, so yeah, that's being donated. And then we have Christy Miller Collection by Robin Jones Gunn. So this is volume 1, which I believe has the first 3 books in it in the Christy Miller series. I read the first book in this bind-up and I really enjoyed it, and then I started on the second one and I just kind of got bored of it. Ended up DNFing it, but I want to know from anybody who has read this series, would I be able to skip over this series and move on to the college years, because I think I'd enjoy those ones a lot better when she's a bit older. So do let me know in the comments if you've read this series, if I can just skip over this one and still kind of understand what's happening. Then we have The Ring and the Crown by Melissa de la Cruz. This is the first book in, I believe, a series that I think got like canceled or something, so to say, or that they weren't publishing the second book. So that made me not want to read it, because I don't want to read a book and then not be able to like complete the series. But is this cover not absolutely beautiful? I have no idea what it's about, but yeah, that's the reason I'm getting rid of it, because I don't think I'd be able to complete the series. Then we have Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger, and this is I think it's categorized as YA, but I think it's more on like the middle grade side of YA. So this is the first book in a series about a finishing school where they teach girls proper etiquette, but also proper espionage. And it sounded really interesting, but again, it's more on that like middle grade side that I think I'm kind of losing interest in. I also had started reading this book quite a while ago, and I just didn't really get into it. So I figure somebody else will enjoy it more than I will. So the next book we have is The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. I picked this book up at my library book sale again because I'd heard a couple people talking about it on BookTube, and obviously J.K. Rowling's a pretty popular author, so it immediately stuck out to me when I saw it. But I believe this is like a realistic fiction novel. I don't know if it's like a romance or anything like that. The synopsis sounds pretty boring, so I'm getting rid of it. Next we have Seeker by Arwen Ellis Dayton. This is another book that I found at my local Dollar Tree, so I picked it up. But again, it's like a high fantasy novel, which I've just lost interest in high fantasy. Then we have Where Beauty Lies by Elle and Blair Fowler. This is the second book in Elle and Blair's duology. Another book that I found at my Dollar Tree, and I figured I'd just get the first one from the library. So I got the first one from the library, and I started reading it, and I immediately just did not like the writing. And so yeah, I ended up DNFing that one within the first like chapter or two, so I figure I'll get rid of this one if I can't even get through the first one. And then the last book that I am unhauling, I'm kind of worried because a lot of people love this book, and it is A Fire and Stars by Audrey Hearst. I definitely said that wrong. But again, this is like a high fantasy novel, so I'm just not into reading it. And I know there are a lot of other people out here who would appreciate this much more than I would, because I just can't get into high fantasy stories anymore. And I was actually thinking about doing a giveaway on some of these books. I don't know when I'll get around to doing it, because giveaways are very expensive, especially shipping outside of America, and I hate to only do a giveaway for my US subscribers because I don't feel like it's unfair. But I don't know, let me know in the comments if you guys would like giveaways on any of these books, and maybe I can do them through like Twitter or something. So yeah, that was my first ever book unhaul. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!